to GSR Season 14, Round 9 here on the streets of Singapore. My name is Soren, I'll be your main commentator today, and once again, and as usual, I have my very beloved co-commentator, Matt, on my side. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing very well, and I'm very excited once again for this qualifying session because we have rain, second time within 3 rounds, so that's quite exciting, especially on this very tricky street circuit of Singapore, Singapore country, the mini country hosting this today's race, as we see Pavel struggling a lot for grip, and I just wonder because a lot of drivers reported some issues with getting comfortable with the track, so it especially should shake up things with this rain coming here.
Yeah, and especially at a track like this, like we saw it in real life F1 in the past as well, as we see Pavel here out of the final corner already, a little bit struggling and invalidating his next lap time as well. Singapore is always a track where the unexpected could happen, like we see in tragedies here so many times before. And combining that with the rain and with the not existing experience here on this game, on this track for many drivers, I think this could really shake up the both constructors and driver standings. And yeah, let's see what we're about to witness today. But before we're gonna keep on the focusing the action on track, we obviously gonna quickly check out the race results from last week's race at Kota, where we saw Vapor taking another win of the season ahead of Lazar, his championship rival. Then Speedyman in P3. And the rest of the results obviously show Trobule on his debut going for P4. Very good result for him, especially coming from P18 on the grid. So good job to him. Joseph then in P5, FR77 P6. We got 8 in P7. We got Edgar's in P8. Jonathan in P9. And Harold gaining the final point of this race in P10. Fastest lap has been driven by Lazar and pole by Vapor. So both will gain one additional point. And that means for the driver standings, which we have here, we only show the top 10 because it would just take too much time. Vapor still in the lead, 136 points after 8 races. Lazar close behind, 110, so only 26 points behind. So this battle is far from over. Let's see if Lazar can maybe put the pressure on Vapor. He did secure 3 wins in a row now, however. Let's see if he can make it a 4th in a row, or Lazar maybe can secure his 3rd win of the season. Then we got Speedyman in P3. He is not too far away either, so maybe he can also have a say in the title fight. Smorzek then in P4, Vestrigi P5, 8 P6, Sturmer P7, Jensen in P8, FR77 P9, and Thomas in P10 at the moment. And for the constructor standings, it looks like this. Alpine in the lead, 170 points, 23 points ahead of McLaren. So also still a close battle so far. Sauber also very close behind, 134. Then we got a bigger gap to Red Bull in P4, Aston Martin in P5. They're only 19 points ahead of Haas as well. Then we got Ferrari only 1 point behind them. Racing Bulls only 3 points behind them. So it's a very close fight for that P6, maybe even P5. And Mercedes also could have a say in that. They're only 1 point behind Racing Bulls, so it's a very tight midfield. And Williams at the bottom line in P10 with only 2 points so far in this season. But let's take a look back now onto the action on track and see who maybe can take the pole this time out and secure 1 additional point.
Yeah, Mr. Fallow is in the front actually, as we see the track dried up very quickly, and drivers are already out on soft tires, some of them trying to feel out the conditions on their outlap, as we see Thrasher sliding a little bit, but clearly having a lot of confidence in the drying track. So I think we are gonna see big improvements coming to the end of the session, as the track will uh, get some more rubber into it, and we should see a lot of improvements. So for now, Vapor, our championship leader, and Laza are close to each other, but those times are not really significant anymore if either of them will be able to improve, which should obviously happen as the track is very dry now, seemingly.
Yeah, especially at a street circuit, the grip will increase over time, and especially if you had rain at the beginning of qualifying, obviously the track will go faster and faster over time. And I think it really comes down in the end on who is the last one to start the laps. Basically, I think that could really make a significant difference already. So yeah, it basically comes down to who will be the last one to start a lap and who will have the best conditions on track. Also, who will have the least traffic ahead, something like that, also plays a role. Luckily, we don't have the yellow flags rule, but basically they don't ruin the laps of the drivers like in real life. That obviously helps everybody here and creates fair conditions for every driver, as we see Thrasher then coming over the bridge now in the middle of Sector 2. Very beautiful part of the circuit, I have to say. It's not very likely to fight through there, but I really like to drive there. And now down this back straight towards Sector 3, and obviously Thrasher is improving. Obviously he is now on dry tire compounds and the track is getting faster, so I think we're gonna see a lot of times now that drivers will beat the fastest lap. And yeah, we see who will take the pole position at the end of this session in roughly 8.5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And Thrasher now coming towards the final corner. What will it be on his return here to GSR once more? Over the line he goes. And obviously fastest for Thrasher, 3 seconds or maybe 2 seconds quicker than Thalo. So yeah, we're gonna see the one or another big improvement now from the drivers.
Yes, we see here now Harold on his lap. I also noticed from the map a lot of drivers are starting their first slick tires, dry track laps. So yeah, well, we'll see it. It might have been quite a shake-up if the weather stayed like it was, but in the end, we're gonna see a battle on the very dry asphalt of the Singapore track, and Harold goes much faster than Thrasher with a new benchmark of the session of 1:33.8. Let's see if someone can beat that, as we see Laza, our second driver in the championship, who had some small issues before the race, as Pavel now sets the top time of the leaderboard, but Laza had some issues before the session and he almost didn't make it, but in the end he is racing and continues to fight for the championship, even though with a big slider, and even though Vapor has 3 wins to his name in a row, Laza still is within touching distance of him, and Vapor did report some not that he doesn't feel the most comfortable with this street circuit here, as both KL8 and Speed Demon, all of them beating themselves down to the line. But now we'll see Laza's benchmark, and it's actually slower a little bit than Speed Demon, around 1/10 slower. But he goes very pushy into those first 3 corners, but it didn't seem like he's gonna go for another lap this time round.
Yeah, and we just saw Abra crossing the line now in the Aston Martin. He goes P5, so obviously a very good lap time from Abra there. But let's see how the track will evolve over the next couple of minutes, over in the next 6 minutes, because yeah, we already saw what's happening here. We saw one driver after the other putting a better lap time into the asphalt here. We are now 10 seconds quicker than we were just a couple of minutes ago with the rain. And I think that time will even come down even more, especially from our fastest drivers here in this group, from Vapor, from Laza, and maybe some unexpected guests there as well. Like I think Jimbo could also be one of those drivers that could be a surprise here. Thalo obviously on his debut also. We don't really know what his pace will be like, and maybe he can be a little surprised there. And then also very interesting, we don't know what the weather will be like in the race. So there might be rain coming in the race, so people might use some higher wings or something like that. We don't really know. And I think that's really gonna be interesting to see what setups the drivers will use here today and what we might expect for the race, because Singapore isn't a track where you can't really overtake that good. You can, and at certain spots. For example, like at the end of this straight here, obviously the main overtaking opportunity. But it is possible for you to run a little bit higher wings and still be in front and defend from any overtakes that might be happening. As we see both Ferraris here getting very close together. Interesting. Kia on his debut as well now ahead of his teammate Infinity. And they are letting the Red Bull through here, so that's fair play. But Jonathan is on an outlap anyway.
Well, we saw also Vapor setting the third time of the session, which is actually interesting because now Speed Demon is the one giving out the cards, as he most often finds himself actually behind our championship leader. So maybe it would be his race. Let's not forget that Vapor does like more loose rear end, Verstappen-esque like driving style. So we might see something interesting from the setup of that driver, even if he doesn't feel comfortable with the track. That's what Verstappen did as well in real life. On the tracks that he might not feel the most comfortable, that Red Bull and his driving style just worked sometimes, and he was able to get an upper hand even with some faster cars, some McLarens from this season, for example, as Joblin goes up to P5 as well. Laza's teammate for this race, GSR Callum, unfortunately, our full-time driver, missing today's Grand Prix. And we also see Jonathan, as he is gonna participate in his last race for now, as he's unfortunately starting his studies.
Mhm.
So this is the last outing for the Red Bull driver. We will see if he can
Yep.
do something from that. As we see him going through the bridge section and going down through the straight. Behind him, following the Ferrari, one of the Ferrari that let him go the lap before. And we'll see he's on a very good lap, but let's not forget this is only his second lap of the session, second time lap. His first one was on intermediates. Let's see what he can do on slicks, as he sets a fourth time on the board, which is very good from the Red Bull driver. 129.4, I think it was. Very nice from the Red Bull driver that so far struggled to get up into the top 5, mostly battle his way in the midfield of the field. So, midfield of the field. So yeah, very nice from him.
Yeah, as we see more and more drivers now coming out of the pits on their outlap to start their final run of this session. Obviously, we have a couple of guys staying in the pit lane, surprisingly. Oh, we have the Ferrari of Infinity running wide there to get out of the way of the cars behind coming. And let's see, there's an Haas coming towards the line now. That's Pavel on his probably final run as he comes towards the line, and he goes P7, 31.0. Probably won't be really happy with that, but he won't improving with after that. And here we see
Well, the
Aiden.
highest scoring.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I wanted to say the highest scoring midfielders find themselves very high up the field due to a bit of a lower attendance, but also the tricky conditions that the session presented at the end, and some of their rivals simply not racing today. as we see one of them, 8, trying to get up in front, Jonathan, maybe shake up the top 3 as well. Although he wasn't capable yet, apart from that fateful Bahrain race for him, as he locks up very badly here. That's a big mistake, and I think if the timings are right, he was improving by a couple of tenths on his lap, which would have been really good and would have closed him right in his battle with Jonathan, which has continued throughout some of these races of this season since Jonathan joined Red Bull. As we saw a very beautiful onboard shot of him going very cleanly through the bridge section, but now into the last sector, very tricky, mostly 90 degrees corners. As also we see Vapor following him closely, so we'll see both of these drivers with so far very high positions crossing the line almost within a couple of seconds of each other. So let's see then 8 through the final corner of the track, and he does go in front of Jonathan. Very nice improvement from him, and Vapor goes in front with a commanding lead. More than it's 7 tenths in front of Speed Demon. It's amazing improvement. Although Laza is not giving up the fight yet. We see some improvements in the midfield, but now we focus on the McLaren driver, as I think, yes, it was Jimbo. Jimbo goes up in front of Aid. So he takes the best of the rest achievement for now in this session, as Laza going through the final corner, the McLaren driver fighting with his championship rival, and it's not enough. It's 3 tenths off. Speed Demon cannot improve as well. He does improve, but he cannot improve his position. And this is our final starting grid. Vapor with another pole, I think his 4th in a row. Laza with another P2. And we'll see what the start will bring. Very interesting, maybe kind of expected results, but very good effort from our top 3 in the championship to keep up the good form and keep up their transfer these positions onto their starting grid for this race.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought about it as well. You just said it. It's the same order as it is in the driver standings now, which is kind of funny, I would say. So it's Vapor then ahead of Laza and Speed Demon and MP3. But overall, it's been a very great qualifying session from the 2 Kick Sauber drivers here as they make out the second row. But look at the gap between Speed Demon and Jimbo. It's 1.2 seconds. That just shows how much these 3 at the top are in a league of their own. And obviously, there were tricky conditions out on the track for today's qualifying. But let's see how it is for the race now. Anything can change, and it's a long race. Obviously, the walls are closed, so you need to bring the car home in one piece. That's that's obviously your biggest goal, your number 1 goal, and then let's see what positions you can bring home.
Yeah, as also quite interesting is that we really see a big gap, and I think down from Jimbo from the P4 position, they've created sort of a best of the rest battle. But it actually, if any of the 3 leaders, both in the championship and in terms of pace for this race, at least for the qualifying session, if any of them come to any trouble, it can mean some kind of perhaps podium position for one of the lower standing position drivers in the championship. Because it just takes for one of those to get into some trouble, and people like Jonathan, Aid, or Jimbo can get a podium or something. It would be a first one for Jimbo. It would be a first one for Jonathan as well. But maybe people like Joblin, people like Fallow on his debut. I mean, we've already seen debut driver getting a podium this season with Loco Chris in Canada.
Yeah, and the formation lap now is underway, so Vapor will lead him away Very interesting tire strategies. Most drivers start on the mediums. We got 3 drivers who don't. Harold in P10, Pavel in P8, and very surprisingly, I have to say, Laza in P2, starting on the hard tires. Yeah, very interesting to see how that will turn out. We had a very interesting race in ETSR yesterday as well, with Lewis also going for the alternative strategy with going for the hard tires at a safety car restart. And everybody else, most drivers went onto the mediums, and Lewis went on to win this race because his tire strategy was superior to the medium hard runners. So yeah, very interesting to see how this will play out here. Obviously, it's the longest race of the season, so we're gonna see the hard tires a bit more often, I would say. And yeah, especially at the start now, it's gonna be very interesting. Laza, I mean, always risky because at the start you could take wing damage and you have to pit lap 1, and that would mean your hard tires will be gone already. But let's see. I do believe that Vapor, Laza, and Speed Demon and all those guys at the front, they are very clean racer, and they know how to leave each other room. But at the same time, Vapor and Laza, they are still fighting for the title. We only 4 races to go with tonight, so I wouldn't be surprised if the battles start to heat up a little bit between these two, and you know, once or sooner or later the track will run out for one of them, and we're gonna see one of them in a war, maybe. But I don't think so for today, at least.
Well, but we have seen them battling so hard that it led to wing damage for Laza last time out. But it's sort of, this race should be sort of a game of trying to survive because of how close the walls here are. But as well, it's kind of an small endurance event for all of these drivers. As you said, it's the longest race of the calendar. And as we go through all the POVs, that F1 boy with his best starting grid also of the season, I think, he will hope to make the best out of it. But now, as we go into the 5 lights, they're gonna go on and are gonna flash off right now as we get away for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix, with Laza getting a very good getaway, but Vapor with some better gear changes, and he stays in the lead. We see some fighting between Jonathan and Jimbo. Jonathan already up to P4. 8 lost out on the start massively, lost 2 positions, and we also have Pavel in the wall. Some kind of spin or contact perhaps with other driver. Vapor keeps his position with the 2 championship rivals very close to him going into turn 5. Now Jonathan commanding himself in the P4 position. Very good start from the Red Bull driver, and gonna hunt down on these leaders to get into some trouble perhaps. As we see the McLaren of Joblin also battling with Infinity in this very tough section of corners, very tight section. F1 boy unfortunately is falling down the load, and there's a big contact between KI and Abrar, and that is gonna be the safety car conditions for this race. Unfortunately, big wing damage for KI as well as Pavel. Both of them will need to pit probably for new wings. And yeah, it is actually a VSC in the end.
Yeah, it's only a virtual safety
Wow.
car. You can usually see it when you look at the minimap and there's no yellow point for the safety car, then it's usually a
Yeah,
VSC.
I'm sorry for that.
Oh, good, oh, good. I'm
Um,
just saying, so for next time, you know. But yeah, that was actually very lucky in the end for Pavel that as we go racing again, the VSC already ended and Vapor
so it's
will
not
lead them away.
lucky.
Yeah, so Pavel was kind of lucky because Kia just unghosted just right after he passed him. So if he would have unghosted a bit earlier, I think there would have been a massive collision between Pavel and Kia, and I think both maybe would have been out of this race. So, and we have a lot of guys coming into the pits now, and also a 10-second time penalty for Pavel, who went into the pits a bit too early. I do think it's one of the pit lanes with 60-kilometer speed limit. So, whoa, massive oversteer from Vapor out of the corner. He nearly lost it there, but he kept it on the track. That was a
Another
brilliant
one.
save. What?
another twitch from Vapor actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Seems to be struggling a lot for grip. I think he is in this kind of setup era. Oh, and side by side between Aid and Jimbo. How did they keep it on the track through this very tight section of walls? Wow, very good battling from them. But Vapor seemingly struggling a lot for grip, but actually having a lot of
Oh,
space. Oh, and both of them now spin out. Oh no, and it's Jimbo in the wall. Eight somehow kept it. They aligned very well together, but it's Eight who actually kept it out of the wall, and Jimbo with some additional wing damage falling down massively from his P4 starting position. Fallow also already up to P5. I think he gained some couple of position at least. We're gonna see in a moment. But Vapor still leads. Although yes, Fallow made up 9 positions within 2 laps of racing, and he gets the fastest lap as well. So he's on course to chase down all our midfield driver as well as maybe the leaders, but they do stay in a very compiled, very tight group between themselves in a small DRS train, trying to get away from the field. Now Vapor goes a bit defensive, but Laza finds no way through so far, although they're very close.
yeah, and we do have to remember that Lazar is on the hard tire compound. So I'm not sure if it would really help him as he gets a poor exit now and speed him is right at his back. But, you know, we just saw with 8 and Jimbo, you have to be really much alongside to go for a move into that corner there, into the old slingshot chicane. And yeah, let's see. So the drivers, what we can gather from the first couple of laps now is they are really struggling with the grip out here. We saw many spins already. We saw many half spins as well. And yeah, we could also see that the top group, they are getting away slowly, but not too quickly. Jonathan and Talo both can stay with them a little bit. They do fall behind a bit though. But yeah, so that...
Actually,
Oh,
Fallow is overtaking.
yeah, just as I
Fallow is
said.
in front of Jonathan. As we see them go through the final corner.
And here we see now the overtake for the lead. Here comes Lazar down the inside on Vapor, and he gets the move done, but Vapor wants to fight back. He gets a little bit squeezed between him and the wall, and Speedyman also nearly got through with it as well. But Lazar now up into the lead, and maybe he can use those tires now a little bit better. Let's see. He was looking a little bit quicker than Vapor, because he could easily stay with him. As we have Jimbo coming out of the pits once more. He's on new hard tires now. Might go to the end on those. 27 laps could be possible. But Lazar here in the lead now on the hard tires. Vapor now behind. And it seems like Vapor can't really re-overtake him. It seems like it's going to be a little bit difficult for Vapor as he has to watch out for this quick Sauber behind him as well. Speedyman also trying to push through. And let's see what happens now as they head into lap 5 as Lazar also gets a snap of oversteer there. Kept it out of the wall. And yeah, you can clearly see the driver struggling with the grip out there. Kinda difficult for them. But at the moment it is still Lazar in the lead. We have another car coming into the pits. That's Infinity, I believe. Alright. You muted, mate?
Yeah, I think I'm in now. I had just
Okay.
had some issues with my
Yeah. Oh, and here comes 8 also passing Jonathan now. So Jonathan really struggling out there. And Thalo actually catching up to Speedyman and Vapor and Lazar as well. So Thalo is really quick here today. And it's looking like he could score some decent amount of points for Williams, which are really much needed now. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, we've seen some questionable outings from the Williams driver, as well as just many problems from them. Just like Carlos Sainz had many mechanical and problems and many contacts with other drivers. We've seen that a lot in this GSR season, but Fallow is catching up massively. He seems to be very comfortable with the track, and as it's his debut, we don't really know fully his pace and his capabilities. So he seems to be doing actually quite well compared to our leaders, but they still keeping very close. Although Laza had this important move which could help him a lot with the championship, especially if he keeps it. He is now actually on the favorite strategy, I'd say, because if there's no safety car within the next 10, 15 laps, then he might actually run away from it, as Vapor will switch to the harder compound, which will not favor the Alpine driver at all, although trying to have a look down the inside. Meanwhile, Jonathan getting a 3 second time penalty, the first one from our top 10, well, apart from ATM Josh, to get a track limit penalty. But I think Josh's is a 10-second one for speeding in the pit lane at the same time as Pavel. But yeah, we see Vapor still pushing. He should be with those medium tires, but he can't find a way through. So Laza seemingly has a lot of race pace in on this track.
Yeah, and we're now seeing also a close fight here between Kia and Jimbo. Obviously, they both had a little bit of bad luck in the opening laps, and now they're very close together. And Jimbo looks to be quicker, even though he's on a harder tire compound. And Kia also ghosting for some reason. Not sure what's happening there. And Jimbo gets the position because of that, and he's now up into P12 again. But obviously, he's now one pit stop ahead of all the other drivers. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, it will favor him now compared to the other drivers, but then again, it might not because he will have very old tires. It might be a similar kind of situation to what we've seen in Spa from the Sauber driver. Pavel Jurkovic also getting a 3 second time penalty, as Aid, I think, got past Jonathan from what I've
Yeah,
just quickly
he
seen.
did a couple of laps ago, or like 2 laps ago, I think. We covered it.
But
Yeah,
no, sorry, sorry, that was Joblin in front of Harold. I'm
yeah.
very messy today. I'm very sorry.
All good, all good. Happens.
But yeah, as we see Harold now trying to fight that position back again. Joblin trying to defend, although Harold still looking down the inside. And with a big twitch on the exit, now Joblin can try to pull away, defending pretty well into that corner. And there should be no way through for Harold now as he gets another big slide. Seems to be struggling a lot with the car grip.
Yeah, I got
And
this feeling
Joblin
that
just pulls away.
I got this feeling that the hard tires are pretty quickly at the same pace as the mediums and even quicker. Like we saw Lazar now a couple of laps ago overtaking Vapor. It's very close between those two, by the way. And now we also see Harold getting very close to Joblin, and they're both on the same lap old tires. 6 laps on mediums for Joblin, 6 lap old hards for Harold. And Harold seems to be a little bit quicker, so I'm very surprised to see the mediums falling off so quickly, so early. And yeah, this might show us that the hard tire is the way to go here today. And this might be the best, as we got yellow flags in the sector 2. That's Pavel into the wall once again after his crash on the opening lap. Now once again without a front wing. And now he has to limp his way back into the pit lane. And it's still a long way, as he nearly has to do half of the lap. And yeah, that's really not his weekend so far. Really, really disastrous start for Pavel into this race weekend here.
Has this driver ever had a good weekend, though? As he seems to be struggling a lot. Of course, I have nothing against him, but he just had so much misfortune. I don't know if it's just, if he has some trouble finding the confidence on any of the tracks of this game, but Yeah, it's just been very strugglesome for the Haas driver.
Yeah, oh, here comes Vapor, maybe? No, he's just showing himself in the mirror of Lazar. So Vapor is still keeping up with Lazar. Same goes for Speed Demon, obviously, who might be in the best position out of these three, to be fair. Like, he can just sit behind, watch, and save tires. As they're coming into lap 9 now. And Vapor not giving up, showing himself in the mirror every once in a while to show Lazar that he is still there to put up the pressure to maybe make him a mistake, as we just saw out of turn 3, I believe it is. Lazar with a snap of oversteer. So once again, we see a driver struggling with the grip out here today. And I think this could also be race deciding in the end. Like if a driver spins or does a stupid mistake, maybe misses, maybe getting a little bit of damage on his front wing, that could decide the race, and we might see that happening here today.
Yeah, as also Vapor and Speed Demon aren't letting him get away, and maybe actually it was a bit of tactics from Vapor to let Laza go, because now can you check Vapor's battery? Because I think should be able to save his battery a bit better, although he is lower on the battery standpoint, so that is quite not the best for the Alpine driver, but he should indeed be able to save his battery and tires as well, sitting behind Laza, because even though there's a lot of corners, there are three DRS, no, actually four DRS zones on this track, so it is quite easy to stay in this DRS train and not let the leader get away. But as we see, Laza is
Oh,
striving, just kind of pulling away every couple of every couple of thousands, hundreds of a second, each lap. But it is just not enough, because once they get to the long straight with the DRS zone, as they exit as they exit turn 3 and enter that now, there's just not really a way for Laza to pull away from the DRS of Vapor for now.
yeah, but we have to consider that Lazar is on the hard tires, and I think they are 9 lap old now. I think the hard tires from Lazar should be the better tire now, so that's probably why Vapor is losing so much ERS. He has to use a lot more to stay with Lazar, because he would be on raw pace right now a little bit quicker, and obviously Vapor wants to stay with him as close as possible till he makes his pit stop. And I think if Vapor wouldn't use that much ERS, he would fall off. And yeah, that obviously would help Lazar a lot. Like Lazar can roughly save ERS. Like he's saving ERS even now, even though Vapor's right behind him. Vapor with a little lock up here, but still not able to go for the move. And I think that's just working out perfectly for Lazar at the moment. But Vapor probably won't be unhappy as well, staying with him that close, as Vapor's running
Ooh.
wide now. Going off the track, might open the door for Speed Demon, not quite. But now he lost a lot of time to Lazar. Now he has to really use the last bit of ERS that he got to stay within the 1 second DRS range. And maybe that were the first of maybe a couple of more mistakes from one of the top 3 here. Let's see how this one evolve over the next couple of laps.
This is a first major one, but as we can see, it's still not enough for Laza to pull away. The DRS pool on this track is very big, although as we see there are bleak overtaking opportunities. There's not a lot of them at all. And with the walls being so close of this track, it's just the drivers don't want to risk it yet, especially the top guys battling for the championship. Joblin also pitting now, which jumps Jonathan back up to P7 for now.
Oh!
But yeah, oh, we have a car ghosting here. That's Thrasher with some kind of end plate damage. And he's sliding almost into the wall. I think he must have made contact with the walls, perhaps with some other drivers. It is quite a tricky section, so he might have made a mistake on his own, but yeah, we won't know. And there's another yellow flag somewhere. I see, I think that's also for Thrasher again. Yeah, it seems like so, but we are staying with the top three, focusing on the battle, which has seen no real changes. Actually, the top four battle, because Fallow is only around 2 seconds off Speed Demon, and this battle has not seen too much change, but it is quite tense between all of those drivers, and everyone is just waiting for the other to make some kind of mistake. But they are seemingly on the top of their level, on the top of their form, and not giving up. As we see a big scramble here in the midfield again, with both drivers sliding, both the Williams of Josh and Infinity's Ferrari sliding, and Jimbo trying to capitalize on both of these drivers' struggles for grip, as also we saw Thrasher actually retiring in the pits, as you should. Uh, After a strugglesome race, coming back again to GSR after a couple of races of hiatus, as Jimbo goes past Infinity round the outside, with Infinity struggling a lot for grip. He went off the track in the final corner and actually got a third warning, 3 second time penalty, and actually Thrasher retired on track. It seems
No,
like
no, he did in the pit lane, but the
where
AI just drives the
he
car
did
out
in
of
the
the pit
pit
lane.
lane, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He did everything right, and
that's
here comes
okay. So
Jimbo
so he
now
did.
on Josh in the Williams as well. Jimbo down the inside, cutting the corner a little bit. He might needs to give that position back, as this happens sometimes in the game, but I don't think so. So it must be very, very close to be within the boundaries. As Josh also gets a very poor exit, and he's now going side by side with Infinity into the old slingshot chicane. They make contact.
Oh,
Josh goes off the track, nearly avoiding the wall there, and Infinity goes through. That was very tight. That was some very hard racing, and Josh really struggling right now here to keep the car on track. Oh, yeah, he's really struggling. And he's probably coming in within the next 1 or 2 laps, I would assume. He's on 11 lap old medium tires, so yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he would come into the pits soon.
they both seemingly struggled with their mediums over the past couple of laps, as Aid now go
No,
past
wait.
what no, sorry. That's lapping F1 boy, I think, then? No.
No, I think it was
No, no,
lapping
no.
Pavel.
Yeah, Harold lapping Pavel. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's quite interesting that they're keeping quite close to each other. But anyways, in other news, Vapor fell out of Laza's DRS, which is huge for Laza. The medium seemingly giving up, with Vapor struggling to even make it within that corner, as Aber gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately, and he is retiring again. The Aston Martin driver can't seem to find any break this season, as Vapor goes into the pit lane very tight, almost going off the track boundaries, as Speed Demon follows him. Both drivers struggling a lot on mediums, as we've had it teased by Josh's and Infinity's struggle, although Infinity's has a bit fresher rubber. But Josh struggled a lot there for grip in the midfield battle. But yeah, the two championship rivals exiting next to each other. Vapor keeping the position now, just keep it within the track boundaries, within the white line on those very cold tires. They both do it very cleanly, and they will try to chase down after Laza, who has a commanding lead now, but of course will need to pit. Will need to pit. He will go out on a supposedly better rubber, though, in a couple of laps, perhaps. We'll see about that.
Yeah, so and if we would do the maths now, so those guys they went all on 12 or maybe even so basically 14 lap out medium stint. And if we would count it a little bit down to like 13 or 12 laps, that would even mean that Laza is probably coming in within the next 5 laps. So let's see then as how he will deal with the situation when he got the rear tire advantage now. So he did a very good first stint, as we see a very close fight between Vapor and Speed Demon here. But they both, if they are starting to fight now really hard, they will both come out behind Laza then. And if that happens, I think Laza pretty much has this race won. So they need to work together now for a brief moment of time for a couple laps to make sure they at least get out ahead of Laza. And here comes Jimbo now, Speed Demon now, sorry, going for the move on Vapor into the last chicane, and he gets the move done. Brilliant overtake from Speed Demon there, as he is taking P2 at the moment, and if everything goes well, that will be also probably be the provisional lead maybe.
That's very interesting now. If sorry, Speedy Man won't lose any more time, then he is on a good way to take the lead in this race. It just depends on how much pace Laza can find on the into his second stint, because the gap is going down quite massively. So he will go out behind those two drivers. And yeah, Vapor seems to be struggling a lot because he did let both drivers, Laza and Speed Demon, go past with not much of a fight. Of course, it did take a lot of bravery and a lot of great skills, great overtaking skills from Speed Demon and Laza to go past, but the Alpine driver isn't fighting back for now. He is perhaps saving his tires, saving his battery, maybe trying to attack at the end of the race, or he is just struggling, which is quite rare for our championship leader. But yeah, Fallow also keeping very close with them. Well, very close. He is within 2 seconds of them. He just cannot get close as both the drivers in front of him do get DRS constantly. So if Speed Demon and Vapor work it quite well, they can get a big gap in front of Laza, as we see Vapor here getting very close to Speed Demon, but not trying to overtake him. They must work together now to have a chance of deciding that race win between themselves, actually.
Yeah, and also one thing, I don't think we considered that, but obviously with 4 races to go now with this one as well, the championship is about to get in his closing stages as Vapor goes off the track there. Maybe picked up a warning in because of that, but also it really showed again that Vapor is struggling here today. But if Laza could actually went on to win this, and Vapor would be behind Speed Demon, or potentially even maybe behind Thalo, that could be really huge for the championship, because obviously you're always seeing the fight between Vapor and Laza, and if Laza would win, Vapor comes second, he would only gain 7 points. But if Vapor actually would fall down behind more, which is definitely possible here today, that could be a huge potential win here for Laza if he can keep on to win this race.
Yeah, as we see now, Joblin and Harold fighting for the last points paying position for P8. But yeah, what you've brought is quite interesting, because Vapor seems to be struggling, although Fallow doesn't seem to have enough pace, as Laza already pitting. That is quite early. That is pretty early. And he does get overtaken even by Fallow. The Hearts had a massive drop off at the end, because he did have a gap of around 28 seconds immediately after Vapor and Speed Demon pitted, but that gap went down to around 22 seconds. He lost out massively, with now 7 seconds gap to both his championship rivals, as we see very hard battling here between the McLaren and Aston Martin. But Harold, for now, keeps it behind. Doesn't want to go for any risky move. Jonathan pits again, I think. He pitted once already. Yes, it is his second stop, which is quite weird, because I think this race is purely a one stop. But now he goes out right in the middle of that battle, actually, getting overtaken by both of those drivers, but he will have the tire advantage, so he may still have something to say and pick up some points from his last race.
Yeah, he is.
As he went for soft, actually.
I'm very surprised by that, as we might see the overtake from Harold again. No, so Jonathan really, he needs to come in one more time at least. That's 14 laps on softs. That's not doable. Like, if he wants to go soft all the way to the end, I think he even has to come in like 2 more times or something like that. That is so not doable. So, yeah, very, very interesting strategy from Jonathan. Yeah, as we see Harold and Joplin going side by side into the old slingshot chicane there. With the better end for Joplin still, who stays ahead for now. But you can really see how much Jonathan is pushing here with the soft tires. That is very crazy to see, but yeah, gonna be interesting to see how long this tires will last because I don't think that will be long.
But this tire situation today on this track is very tricky and shaked up a lot because, as I said, I didn't expect quite a massive drop off for these hards at the end of Laza, and I thought he might have pit like lap 20, 21 because let's not forget Vapor and Speed Demon, especially Vapor, they already struggled when those medium tires had 11 laps, as Jonathan goes for both of these drivers now, diving down the inside of Joblin after getting past Harold on the straight. And that is quite a quick move back up to P7, but he does have the penalties, and he did choose the soft tires, which is quite a weird decision because I think they must have they must get like up to around 90% as Harold and Joblin still fighting quite feistily, making contact into turn 4. This is quite a fun battle to watch as Vapor also, I see on the timing board, gets very close up to Speed Demon, but they seemingly work together. They don't want to lose time. Vapor isn't going for any risky moves, even if he is only 1.5 tenths behind Speed Demon. So yeah, although now he's very close and going round the outside, trying to go for it on Speed Demon. Speed Demon breaking quite late and closing the door very harshly on Vapor. Vapor won't attack into this corner. That is far too risky, and he knows that. But this battling made Tallow gain around 3 tenths on them, and also Laza is gaining massively on Fallow. So this is this could shake up into quite an interesting race if the hard tires will see such a similar drop off as Laza's hearts from the first stint. Then we might see some interesting battling because all of those tires today seems to be dropping off massively as Jonathan unfortunately spins and he goes back down behind Joplin, and those soft tires aren't faring him well. Harold now looking for a move. He's the Red Bull driver is sliding a lot through this corner, also through turn 4, and trying to keep his position in front of Harold. I don't think it was the best decision to go for these softs now.
No, definitely not, and especially now after the spin, I think those tires will be absolutely done by now. So, yeah, he would need to come in even earlier. Maybe even got front wing damage, as we see a little snap of oversteer here from Speed Demon, who seems to struggle a lot now. And Vapor now right behind, and I think we might see an overtake happening, or at least an attempt of an overtake again. But Speed Demon is using the ERS wisely. Here comes the dive from Vapor, who locks up and nearly avoids contact with the Sauber ahead of him. And yeah, now this battle is really getting hard. And obviously, both have the win upon their eyes. Obviously, both want to get this win. And yeah, we see. And Thalo actually now in 1 second range. So Thalo now will get the DRS. Laza is also not far away. He's getting closer and closer every time. And we still got 11 laps to go. So this is going to be an intense finale.
Speed Demon now actually being a bit...
Oh, wait.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But they are both getting a bit impeded, I think, with their vision because both Ghosted drivers here, I think that's Infinity and ATM Josh battling in around P12, P13 positions. They are, I think, a little bit impeding the drivers, but Laza is way within the DRS now of Fallow in front of him, and there all seems to be battling a lot with each other, but no moves yet. They're all taking it cautiously. They still have a lot of laps to go, but it seems like this track is very harsh on the tires today, and there's no doubt about that. Everyone seems to be struggling, whether it's the leader with the best tire saving strategies, or it's people like Pavel and F1 Boy who have gone into spins already in this race, who had their fair share of trouble. Jonathan also, he retired from the race. I
Oh,
think he did in the pit lane, and Pavel, I think, went into the wall.
and it's a safety car.
Uh, and it's a safety car indeed. So it was not only Jonathan, but I think, as I said, it was Pavel, or was it Aid maybe? No, it was
No,
Pavel. It was Pavel. It was
yeah,
Pavel going into the
probably.
pits to fix some kind of damage,
Oh, yeah.
perhaps. Also, we see Joblin. Yeah, no wink for Pavel, for the Haas driver. Joblin also in the pit lane. And this safety car is shaking up quite a lot, actually. It will get all of the leaders even closer to each
Oh,
other, and they haven't been given themselves an inch. And oh, and that's a driver penalty for KI. And all of the leaders going down into the pit lane now. What will they choose for the tires? Will they go for, well, the most logical decision would be to go for mediums, obviously, but will they risk it with
yeah,
softs with such degradation on the track? I don't think so.
yeah. This that
Laza already going for me. Sorry?
yeah.
Yeah?
The safety car is now really unlucky for Laza because it made all
Speed Demon
his
for Hearts.
speed demon off onto the hards. Maybe he doesn't have any fresh mediums left, or he saw that at the first stint that Laza was actually quite able to compete on the hard tires, and now he's doing the same because we still got 10 laps to go, and we already saw on lap 6, 7 that the hards seem to be a little bit quicker. So very interesting strategy, and yeah, we'll see how this will play out. But yeah, like I said, very unlucky for Laza, who will is now stuck in P4 and needs to fight his way through these three guys ahead on the same tire compound, basically.
Yes, that's quite interesting because we've seen the mediums dropping off a lot for many drivers. So it might be a good decision from Speed Demon, who has the biggest upper hand in the end, starting P3, not finding himself in like anywhere near. Well, not that anywhere near, but he was a bit off the pace of Vapor and Laza, but actually overtaking Vapor, and now this safety car.
Yeah, also one, well, it obviously will benefit most drivers since they all could get a lot closer, especially a driver like Jimbo, who obviously had also some bad luck at the start. He is sitting in P6, which is still a very good result for him. And yeah, he can also get closer to the field. 8 also having a phenomenal race so far. He's sitting in P5 basically the whole race. So, very good race for him as well. The battle between Joplin and Harold will probably continue even after the safety car restart now. Infinity might also have a say in there as well. At ATM Josh, he was a little bit unlucky and lucky at the same time, as he's in the middle of here. Basically can't really get overtaken.
I don't think though that the guys down from P6 will be able to catch up to safety car Q because they are almost a minute off. Maybe Jimbo, Joblin, and Harold and Infinity would be able to, but Josh is then
Yeah.
around 2 minutes away
Yeah.
from the whole
Josh
safety
is
car. Yeah,
Josh is
so
like right behind
ah,
it. So yeah,
Josh.
yeah.
Yes, so I don't know. Would he be able to go past the safety
No,
car? No,
no.
right? Probably
So
not
in
for
in
this
the
game.
pre
Yeah, it
in
doesn't
the
work like that.
earlier games, you would just get a 10-second time penalty, I think, for ignoring yellow flags. But that, I think, since F1
Mm.
24 or 23, maybe you would just get disqualified immediately. So you can't do this anymore.
Uh,
It was kind of worth it
Unfortunate.
on getting a penalty, the 10 second, and then being at the back of the grid again at least. But In the new games,
Yeah,
it's not possible anymore.
but speaking of the game, speaking of which, I hope 8 joins back because if he doesn't, then he will just lose out massively on the P5. But he is not the only one having struggles. I struggle on both data and Wi-Fi today. I don't know what's happening, so that is quite interesting, and I'm sorry if that does not make for the best watching experience on the stream. But yeah, I'm trying my best. I have
Yeah,
to say.
I had the same earlier, and you also can see it in the top left corner. So the whole time it's blinking there, the trying to connect with online services. So I don't know what that is. Um, but yeah,
What do you think it might be OBS streaming in
no, 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 I don't think so.
and like no, I
No,
don't know.
I mean,
No.
it's
But
just
anyways,
showing up there. Like the race is normal, like everything is running smoothly. So, um, whoa,
I
what's
see.
happening there?
But 8 is still, yeah, at 8 is still being impeded, and now Josh just gets too close to his ghost, and yeah, it's quite troublesome for the drivers behind on this game, and yeah, to keep himself behind the ghost because ghosts are running much slowly. But if he does get past, I don't know if there will be consequences, but for 8, it will be a car in between him and Laza, which I don't think he can capitalize off because the leaders have been in the league of their own. But it is a great opportunity to get points. And actually, I thought we might go on the previous lap, but the safety car seems to be waiting for the whole queue to catch up in any way possible, even if some drivers are a lap or two down. I don't know how actually. Could you check the gap to the leader, because I think
Yeah.
Pavel, Josh, and KI might be even 2 laps down.
Uh,
Actually, no.
Actually, no, but there will be one lap down. I think was as soon as the safety car reset is because they are like literally Josh is a lap down, like he's in the middle of that all. Kia as well, so
Yeah.
they are for sure a lap down now. But I think the safety car I think yeah it's coming in this lap, but I think it would have restarted anyway on this lap since I think it's usually staying out for 3 laps or so. And it's lucky
Mm-hmm.
that the rest of the field also can catch up now, as we have Speed Demon then leading them away. Vapor then close behind in second place now. Thalo also with a great drive so far in now third. And Lazar obviously who wants a little bit of revenge for that safety car in fourth place. So that's gonna be a very interesting restart then. And H just joining back. That's good.
Well done for him. But I think it's the first time that Speed Demon is restarting, or one of the rare times that he is leading the safety car restart, as he is jumping on the throttle now and going away, trying to get away from Vapor. All of them are on fresh rubbers. Speed Demon with hards instead of mediums, as 8 they're losing a bit of position. Josh retires in the pit lane. As well, he was followed by Infinity, who switches onto the soft. But anyways, the leaders battle now. Oh, it's getting quite close as Vapor lost out a bit to Speed Demon. Fallow and Laza both got closer to him, but there is no way through as the DRS isn't on yet, so they can't just find any way only with the slipstream, as the car ahead has the slipstream of another car. So it's Speed Demon still leading, fighting for his first win of the season. I think he is quite a consistent podium finisher, but he hasn't tasted the top step of the podium yet this season. So it is quite interesting to see him now in the lead, trying to get away from all of these medium runners, hunting him down in a big group, and they will get DRS on the next lap, which will see them try to attack further, as we see also Harold, Aiden, Jimbo. Oh, and now we see some contact between our battle for the sole point between Pavel and KI now. KI being the one who lost out with contact with Pavel. Going into the wall and getting some front wing damage. Vapor getting close now, and they will have DRS now. Will Vapor be able to attack? Laza also very close behind Fallow, who seems to be a bit slower than the group in front of him. 8 getting a 3-second penalty, and now we see Vapor hunting down Speed Demon.
Oh, and here's Vapor going for the move, and they're both going off the track, and there's also further collision with Thalo and Vapor, as well as Thalo was running into the back of Vapor there. Now Laza might squeeze his way through. Thalo getting very close to the wall there, but he's staying ahead for now, and he's going side by side with Speed Demon, who now drops to P3 in a couple of meters here. Basically, Vapor is taking the lead. Thalo now into P2. At Speed Demon in third, Laza still in P4, and let's see how this will evolve over the next couple of corners now. And Thalo is taking the lead now. Vapor letting Speed Demon through again, and there's maybe some contact between Laza and Vapor. The both championship rivals going side by side all the way down to the last couple of corners down this new straight here with the next DRS zone, and side by side into the final chicane they go, and it's looking like Laza is spinning round.
Oh no, contact!
And Vapor staying
no,
ahead.
Contact between the two championship drivers. He does stay ahead, but it's another contact in another race for the two championship rivals, as we have the surprising result of Fallow and Speed Demon actually fighting for the win from starting P3 and P4. No, actually starting P3 and Fallow starting way back in the field, now taking the lead. And they are in a battle of their own, as Vapor lost out on the DRS. Speed Demon very close behind, and it's just quite incredible, quite aligned that we have another contact between the championship rivals of Vapor and Laza. That is just a scenario that couldn't have been written better, but it's Laza losing out again, and Vapor might gain an upper hand, another upper hand in the championship, but Laza hunting him down very close now. Actually through the tricky second. Oh, and Vapor actually, I think that might have been a lag or something for Vapor. Going back behind Laza actually, and Jimbo now hunting him down, and Jimbo back up to P5 after 8 had some problems with his connection, making a great result for the Zauber team.
Yeah, indeed, it's been probably one of the best weekends for the Zauber team, if they can hold on to that, but this race is far from over. We still got 4 more laps to go, and Fallow is still being chased by Speed Demon. Laza is being chased by Vapor. Then Jimbo also maybe having a say in there as well. But first of all, here comes Vapor now, maybe retaking that that step on the podium. Not quite into turn 1, but I think this is just getting a bit more heated. I don't know who really was at fault for the collision, but I don't want to put any opinions out on here without further video footage. But I think neither of them think they are in the wrong, so Vapor probably won't give up that easy as he's going for the move on Laza. Now down the inside, here was the contact a little bit before, and here once again very close. Laza with a great line through there, staying ahead. Now Laza with the inside line, Vapor with the switchback, but Laza will have the inside line once again. He's leaving enough space for the Alpine, but it's not possible for Vapor to go for a move, and I don't think he's gonna risk it here into the slingshot. He does not risk it. He's showing himself in the mirror, but Laza is staying ahead for now, but it's still 3 more laps to go.
Laza is giving some ruthless behavior towards his championship rival, squeezing him right to the walls, right to the white lines, not letting him have a look for any switchback. So it's quite interesting now. Swords out between those two, but they are losing quite a lot of pace now towards the 2 leaders now, as Speed Demon still finds himself very close to Fallow, but it is not enough yet. If Fallow defends the best as he can, he might repeat what Finn has done in Imola and win on his debut. A Speed Demon gets a 3 second time penalty, and that's huge. Fallow is now in pole position to get the win on debut, and Laza, if he can just edge in closer, he can get P2. But Vapor attacking again, trying to have a look down the inside, but it's not enough. He goes out of the track on the outside, and they are losing quite a lot. So Speed Demon might be able to keep his P2 finish, but it's not gonna be enough if Fallow just keeps his car within the boundaries of the track. He can get it, and that's quite incredible. Can you just switch on how many position he gained? Because it's like 11 or 12, I think. No, it's 13 even. Position gained by Fallow on his debut, on his way to win this Singapore Grand Prix. Very endurance-like with some safety car, virtual safety car, and now he is in the lead for the Williams team that struggled a lot, going across on starting his penultimate lap with Speed Demon still behind, still hunting him down, but it's not gonna be enough, I think.
Yeah, this is gonna be very exciting now to see if Speed Demon could overtake him. Even I think, like you said, it's not gonna be enough. A big slide here from Speed Demon, barely missing out on the wall. And even though he still has to get, well, he could get rid of his 3 seconds, obviously. But if he can't, obviously he needs to gain 3 seconds on track, which I don't think he will do. As we see Vapor once more going for the move on Laza. He's pushing him to the edge of the track, and Laza still side by side with him, going down the inside into the next corner, and they're still side by side, and I think Vapor has the inside line now. Oh, again, contact! They both somehow kept it out of the wall, and Vapor really squeezing his way through there, and is now back into the podium position.
That was a very harsh battling again, and another, I think, small contact and big twitch from Laza. And now it's Vapor taking P3 away from the McLaren driver, and it's Vapor showing superiority on him again. And that will gain him another couple of points in the championship battle, as well as he got the pole position. I'm not quite sure who has the fastest lap right now. If you could check that maybe, or if you know. It is Laza actually, so it will it will equal out in the end, that additional point, if no one else will be able to improve, as we see Infinity's Ghost battling with Harold, that is, I think. But yeah, Fallow actually started the last lap, the final lap of this race, keeping Speed Demon still behind him. It's the last opportunity of Speed Demon to make anything out of it. The penalty just limits him a lot, and it won't be enough, but they are in a league of their own on this stint, as Vapor and Laza seems to be struggling quite more than the Zauber and the Williams driver. So it should be enough for P2 finish for Speed Demon, and Vapor just running away in front of Laza, saying, "Ha, that's it. That is my championship now." And yeah, it will leave them with 3 rounds to go, with a quite big gap now in front for Vapor, as Laza seemed to have some moments where he could have taken the upper hand. Although now Vapor struggling on the exit, Laza still not giving up, still not wanting to give those 3 additional points to Vapor, trying to go around the outside, and also Fallow is gonna cross the line to finish and win on his debut. Speed Demon with a P2 finish, and Vapor is gonna cross the line, and Laza crushing out actually his car on the finish line, but finishing P4. Jimbo was not far off of them and clinching a great result after a shaky start from the Zauber driver. 8 with P6, and we are gonna see Joblin and Harold with their battle lasting a long time, and Joblin getting the upper hand finishing in P8. KI with no points in this lots in this race with lots of incident, no Infinity is just gonna clinch P9, and Pavel is gonna clinch P10, which is gonna be quite a lot for him, I think, because he hasn't seen points for some races now, I feel like. And that is the race done. Then.
Yeah, that was definitely an exciting race to remember for so many reasons. Let's hope we can get the top 3 in for some interviews. And let's see. So,
Yeah, but we see the drivers celebrating also on the podium. Are we able to get them in? To get them all in now?
yeah, obviously, a very good result at the end of the day for the Williams team, which we can see here. Thalo finally getting some very good points for the team. That was really needed. And yeah, fastest lap in the
Thalo
end.
with obvious driver of the day.
Yeah, Thalo with the drive of the day, that's true. And yeah, let's see. Let's switch to the podium interviews server.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. There we go. Oh, we got Vapor in already. Nice.
Right.
Okay, so Thalo sadly won't be joining.
That's unfortunate. But by the way, I will
May as well just get
I will
Lazar in.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but I will not do any interview, any additional question today because of how my connection has been today. I don't know.
Okay.
So you don't have to ask me.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
just-
Nice. Okay, so Lazar's joining. That is good. There he is. Nice. All right. So Lazar's and Jacobson. Speedy Mason. Okay, good. Then we can start the podium interviews. All right, guys. Let's go now. First of all, thank you for all for being here. Welcome to the post-race interviews. Oh my God, more people. Jeez. Just stop. My God. Come on. Okay. Anyway, so okay, we're starting off with our 4th place finisher. Then Lazar. Guys, come on, that can be heard on the stream. For fuck's sake. Wait. So we start off with Lazar then. Yeah, so I would usually say congratulations on the podium, but it isn't. But congratulations on this nonetheless good result. P4, still a good result. I mean, that was pretty amazing race. Obviously, the safety car kinda ruined the race for you. So, but in general, just tell us, how was this race for you?
Well, I'm very annoyed in myself and just like and how the race unfolded. I mean, I was pretty happy to be battling Vapor, because it was a brilliant fight between us two. Once again I get I'm beat by him again. I know it's only a 3-point swing, but you know it's like it's a what is it a nearly 30-point gap now in the championship? You know I'm not gonna be able to close that down now, so it's pretty much my title hopes down the drain. Even though there's like four races left, you know, it's just like, you know, it's gutting because I felt like I would have a tire advantage towards the end of the race on those guys if the safety car didn't come out, and I would most likely been on the podium because I got ahead of Vapor when on the hard tires in the first stint which gave me hope because it showed that I had decent pace, and that could keep up and maybe extend the stint a bit. So I pit on, I think it was lap 16, which was about expected. But yeah, it's a bit of a contrast to last race where I'd accept second. The points gap between first and seconds is it's bigger than it is fourth to third. But I'm just annoyed. I'm pretty annoyed at how it should have gone. It could have gone. Down to mistakes on my end as well. It's yeah.
Yeah, all right. And before heading into this race, P4 now, would that be before the race? Would that be something you would be happy about, or did you thought like you want at least a podium, or maybe just stay ahead of Vapor at least, or what were your expectations before the race? And now, obviously, you said you're a little bit annoyed now, but after a couple of days now, and you look back at this race, would you still be happy with that result, or do you think there was more possible in general?
Yeah, no, definitely not. I wouldn't have took fourth place regardless, even if Vapor finished fifth or sixth or anything like that. It's just at the end of the day, it's not good enough. A podium should have been there. It should have been there for the taking. It was a good battle between me and him, but yeah, it was just frustration on my end.
Yeah, I can get that. And let's talk about the final laps now and your battle with Vapor. We saw, I don't want to call it dirty, but it's getting a little bit more hard. Was that also because you thought like, okay, it's gonna be the end of the season now every point counts double basically, and you really want to stay ahead? That you might be just a little bit more aggressive than you usually would be, or maybe at the start of the season. Was that the case, or what were the reasons why you made so much contact today?
Well, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Like, it was good racing, hard racing. Again, I can't remember what lap it was on. It was on lap, I think it was 28 or 29, when Vapor was disappearing in front of me. I've got a clip of it, because he was about 1.5 seconds ahead. He disappears, reappears in his 7/10, and then about 2 corners later he reappears and he's 4/10 behind me. So it's like I don't know if I've hit him or anything like that, because I'm not actually aware of anything. But of the actual racing, it's fine if like say if he pushed me off, I think once. It's the like end of the big braking zone. I think it's at the start of sector 2. I can't remember what. But honestly, I don't mind, because it's hard racing. And, hard racing I like. It's a driver that I respect. And well, yeah, I'm not sure what happened any other time, but it was pretty good racing. Unless like from someone else's perspective, from you guys' perspective, it was wrong. But from mine, I didn't really see a lot. It was probably more aggressive, I agree, yeah. But yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I get that. And yeah, then final question. I mean, obviously, you already said the point gap is nearly or something around 30 points now, maybe. There are only 3 races to go. Obviously, it's getting more and more harder for you to challenge Vapor for the title. Nonetheless, we still got 3 races left, and so it is still possible. And the next race is Abu Dhabi. How are you feeling for that? Do you feel confident for that you can come back from this race there and maybe fight for the win a bit more today there and even go on to win it?
I don't mean to be like pessimistic, but yeah, no, I've got absolutely no hope at Abu Dhabi. It's by far my worst track, and Vapor is actually pretty good at Abu Dhabi. Regardless if he uses line, without line, he's still going to be quick. The fact that I've not been able to beat him today and he's on no line, it kind of says everything. It kind of just says who's a better driver. It's the reason why he's at the top of the standings, to be honest with you. So no, my hopes aren't that high. I've never really been good at Abu Dhabi, and especially when there's 3 races left and there's a 30-point gap. It's virtually unachievable, I'd say, in that regard. Like, I'm hoping for like, no offense to him, but I'm hoping for like an Austria repeat. Like that would be ideal, but you know, it's pretty unachievable. But hope a stroke of luck comes my way, because the past few races it's certainly not been that way, especially today.
Yeah, all right then. Yeah, that would be everything from me, from us then. Don't want to go into the details more. Thank you for your time. Congrats on the good result nonetheless, and yeah, good luck next week then in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, then we move on to our second place finisher, Vapor. Jake, first of all, congratulations on the podium. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I mean, exciting race nonetheless. It was pretty much, for the most of the time, it was a freeway fight for the win. And after the safety car, Thalo also joined in and made it a four-way fight. So one of you obviously had no spot on the podium left, but you secured a one. P3 in the end. How are you feeling now after this race?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess, I guess I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't get to win today. Um, I think qualifying was really encouraging, but I sort of did what I needed to do today, and that was just outscore Lazar. Sort of getting towards a crunch end of the season, you know, you're starting to get to the point where I just need to keep trying to build that gap, and you know, I don't think I was at all the quickest today. I was probably the fourth quickest out of everyone. I think. Obviously, I got the pole, which was a bit of a surprise because I'd done like 45 minutes of practice before the race, and I was absolutely nowhere. And then my inters lap was good. It was 3/10 off fallow, but I made a mistake in the last sector, so I knew there was more time. Obviously, the first soft run was okay, but then the second soft run, I just nailed it. Sort of like, I felt like a sort of Hamilton-esque lap at sort of Singapore. Like, I just sort of hooked it up. Every corner was fine, and I had a mega final sector, pulled about 5/10, and put it on pole. So, yeah, I can't really fault my thing. I think them two actually got impeded though, so I don't know if I would have been on pole without that, but still a good lap from me. I'm still really happy with it. Fourth pole in a row as well, so that's definitely a big swing in terms of my qualifying form, because it's gone from, you know, me not having a pole until Spa to me now having four poles in a row. So that's really encouraging. And just sort of the race was good. I mean, I led the early parts, then as I got passed on the hards. But I sort of knew when we stuck in his DRS that we'd kind of already done him, because I think even if he caught us, his mediums would have been gone. And I also knew he boxed a bit early on his first set of mediums, so they would have been dead. They would have been dead, lads, as mediums by the end. But you know, I'm not I'm not saying he couldn't have won that, because I think if me and Speed Demon had a bit of a battle, he probably could have. But yeah, sorry, let me just cough. The safety car then came out, obviously, which kind of threw a curveball. I think we all went on Speedy, and it's Speed Demon went on the hards, which, looking back, wasn't actually a bad choice. But I sort of, the first lap of DRS, obviously, I went down his inside, and then we had a bit of contact. It was fully on me. Took us both off, and then I came back on. I let him back by, but I don't know if he got a legal overtake or he just let me back by because he thought it was his fault. But yeah, I'd done that purposely. I let him back through, and then I don't know if he had any legal overtake when he did that, but then I let him back past again, but that let the Williams through, and that obviously let him win the race. So, yeah, no, that's kind of an. I don't know if he had an illegal overtake. Obviously, you'll be able to ask him in a minute, but that just let the Williams win the race pretty much. So that wasn't ideal, and I think if I'd stayed in P2, I still would have probably come second or third. But I then had glitches. Obviously, what Alaza said about me glitching about, he didn't hit me. I had like frame drops. So I don't know if you saw on the stream, but I just kept freezing all over the place. You know, I think even Jimbo said it. You know, at one point I was like 6 tenths ahead of him, and I'm freezing. I'm 4 tenths behind him. So that wasn't ideal. But we had a great fight. sort of a race of patience that came alive at the end. So yeah, it was a good race. P3, it's a solid result, and it's put me in a good position for the title.
Yeah, definitely. And did you think that this race would be so difficult for you today? Like you said, you were probably the fourth fastest out of the top group. Did you think that this is going to be so difficult? And how happy are you now with the P3, or unhappy maybe as well in terms of the race?
Sorry, I don't. Sorry, I just keep it out. I wouldn't say I'm unhappy because I did my role about scoring Lazar, and that's the thing I needed to do today. There was definitely more to be had from that race, but my pace wasn't really there in the race overall. I think it's just, honestly, I think it's just me on no line. I struggled with, I mean, kind of out of my weakness here, but I struggle with restarts a lot. So when the tyres are up to temperature, I think you saw the restart. Speeding actually got away from me on the hards, which you're probably thinking, oh, how did you do that? I just don't know how to drive with no line when I've got no tyre temperature. It's quite hard. You don't realise until you actually do it how much you can actually struggle with it. But I've had it. It's a consistent issue that I've had, and it means I've sort of struggled on restarts, and I've not been able to keep up with people. But just little things like that just cost me today. But you know, it's still a good result. It's a podium. Obviously, had that mistake with Speed Demon. If I got past him, maybe the result's different. But I still don't think it would have been. But yeah, I'm not mad. I did my job today. A track where I wasn't very confident in to get a podium. If you'd asked me before the race if I'd take a P3, I probably would have. So for me, that means it's a good result.
Yeah, all right. And I mean, I haven't do the math yet. So, if you could,
29.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, maybe you could win the title next week. But is that something? But it doesn't really matter if it's possible or not. But if it would be possible for you, is that something you would take into account? Is that something you would look after and make those maths? Like, if I go that position, Lazar don't need to be higher like that, or do you just go into it and just see what happens?
I'd say at this point, probably, yeah, I probably do start thinking about the points tally, but it's not like I'm desperate to win, you know. I didn't. I say I did my job of outscoring Lazar, you know. I didn't sacrifice both our races just to outscore him. I did want to win that race, but I just wasn't quick on the last stint. I couldn't keep up with the front two. So that's basically it. I'll try in Abu Dhabi. Obviously, if I can win the title, and you know, great. But the 29 points gap, obviously, and probably Abu Dhabi is probably one of my best tracks for no line. So I am quite confident going into it. But I'm not eyeing it up and saying like, okay, I need to win the title here. I've still got 3 more rounds to do it, and you know, we're already assuming that I'm going to win the title in Abu Dhabi. You know, 1 retirement, and he gets pole and fastest lap. That gap's 2 points. Or even just 1 retirement and he wins, doesn't get fastest lap or pole. The gap's 4 points. That is title on. Going to Jeddah, which is probably one of his strongest tracks and probably one of our weakest on no line. And then Brazil for a finale, where I have done a bit of no line before, but it's probably not the one you'd want for no line, considering it's a 2-stop and it's probably going to be a one where you're going to really have to sort of be on the limit all the time. It's not exactly the best finish of the season, so Abu Dhabi is going to be one I need to maximise. But I'm not looking at it going, okay, this is a this is a crucial race for the title. I'm just going to take it in my stride and hopefully I can get the title as soon as possible. But it's going to be a tricky end to the season, and I'm looking forward to it.
Actually, I just counted, and if you win next round and Laza gets no points at all, then actually you will clinch the title.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's
I just counted. Just a fun fact.
Yeah. I know it. I'm not bothered about it. it happens. I know we haven't had a title fight in real life all the time, but it happens. You know, you get to like, I'm trying to think of one. Right, Verstappen in Jeddah in 21. Verstappen could have won the title in Jeddah, obviously, because if Hamilton retires and he wins, he's won the title because of the gap they'd have going into Abu Dhabi. But you know, at that point, there's a 14-point swing, and then they're level on points. So I wouldn't, I'd take that with a pinch of salt. That sort of, oh yeah, that this gap going into Abu Dhabi. It's going to be Jeddah probably the one where I've got the best chance of clinching the title if I can have a good result in Abu Dhabi. But, you know, it's not high. It's not like how early you win the title. It's not even really how you win the title. It's sort of getting the title, which I'm sort of bothered about. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the end of the season. It's going to be a big fight. I'm sure he's going to come out swinging. And you know, I think the league sort of heading in this sort of direction that we're going in the positive direction. You know, it's great to sort of have this title fight go to the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that would be everything from us then as well. So, yeah, thank you for your time, Jake. Congrats on the podium, and yeah, good luck next week in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, cheers, thank you.
Right then, and finally we move on to our highest placed finisher here in the podium interview, Speedyman. Welcome, mate, to the post-race interviews. Thank you for your time. Congratulations on the podium for P2.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to be rude, but it's finally Laza and both Vapor behind you, and you're still not on the top spot of the podium. I mean, P2 is a good result, but in the end, you might be a little bit annoyed by it as well that you didn't took your first win of the season yet.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. It's like the first stint, I was right behind them all the way through, staying within a second until the very end of that first stint. Boxed in lap 13 or whatever, came out right behind Vapor. Not sure if it was a lap or two later, overtook him for the lead. Then it was, I was ahead of him for a bit. Then Lazar boxed, he was a few seconds behind. Fallow was a few seconds behind when the safety car came out. I knew that I picked the harder option, so I only had a set hards to go on, which it was very annoying. Then, yeah, me and Vapor having that incident at the end of sector 1, which gave me an illegal overtake, so I had to let him through just in case I couldn't get a remove, which I didn't know at the time, which you don't want to risk it, especially if you're going to get a few seconds added to your time and you can't get it removed. So then let Fallow through. Vapor let me through, then just couldn't get past Fallow for the last almost 10 laps of the race, which is very disappointing because I knew that after qualifying and then the first few laps of the race, I had that pace to actually stay within that like winning chance. So yeah, annoying, but still not bad P2 result though.
Yeah, I mean, the championship is pretty much over for you anyway, sadly. But, I mean, you still show great mentality and space along the way. Those final 3 races now, do you take those more as a kind of practice for next season, maybe? Or what are you doing with those final 3 races now, and especially heading into the next season? What do you take from those?
I'm not really expecting much from those races. I know Vapor's rapid at Abu Dhabi, so there's no chance captain there. So yeah, just probably practicing for next season, hoping I can stay close to him this time and maybe get a win or two. Yeah, hopefully I can stay with a title fight next season, but you never know who's gonna join or leave. So yeah, I'm not expecting much for the final few races, but next year, hopefully can, stay within the title fight. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, the championship for you as a driver is pretty much over. Are you the kind of driver, the kind of player that now switches basically onto the team standings? Do you look more on that, maybe from a certain perspective? Maybe see what you can do maybe with your teammate in terms of that, because it is still looking decent for you in the team standings. You're third in a moment. It's not looking very likely that Red Bull is going to catch you, but you could still potentially overtake McLaren. Even Alpine, it is still possible in those last 3 races if everything goes your way. Is that something you look for, or do you completely just focus on the driver standings, and as soon as that's over, you basically just take the last 3 races as practice races basically?
Yeah, I do look at the team standings a bit, which, you know, driver standings is what my main focus on, but now I know championship's basically over after today. I think maybe team standings, trying to bump up those points and maybe overtake McLaren. Alpine's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, see what we can do with these final few races, and hopefully maybe get ahead of McLaren. Alpine's, they're probably off in the distance now for us, so yeah, see how it goes with these final few races. And of course, there's still a bit practice races as well, because I've bottled the Drivers' Championship with today and other races as well. So yeah.
Yeah, all right. And speaking about the final phase of this race today as well, obviously you were right behind Thalo the whole way to the end. But it didn't quite seem that you were able to go for a move. Was it the tire difference that played the biggest role there, or was it maybe setup-wise that you couldn't go for the move, or what made the difference basically in the end that you ended in P2 and not P2, P1?
I think it was just getting that track limits penalty. It's very demotivating staying behind someone, and a few laps left. Even if you do overtake them, you're not going to be able to make up 3 seconds on them, especially the DRS as well. So yes, it wasn't the setup, it wasn't the tyres. It was just me being an idiot and getting a 3-second penalty that stopped me from getting a win today, probably in the end.
Yeah, all right. I don't have any more questions to be fair. Like Matt, I don't think you got any as well. You didn't say you wanted to make any questions. Don't
Yes.
got any? Okay, no, good. So Speedy, but then that was a quick one today. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Congrats on the podium as well, and
Thanks, yeah.
thank you for being here. And good luck next week then in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, thanks. See you.
See ya. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, that's it then for today for the 9th race of GSR Season 14 here live from Singapore. It was definitely a blast, especially those last couple of laps. Matt, you got anything left to say for our dear viewers?
No, I do not. I think you said it quite well, and yeah, just final thank you for watching, and very sorry for my issues today.
No,
It
was fine, mate. It was fine. All good.
Then, no worries.
Yeah. Alright then. So that's it then for today. Make sure to follow the channel so don't miss out any races. And see you guys then next week again, Wednesday again, when we head on to Abu Dhabi for the 3rd last race of the season. And maybe we're gonna see a champion being crowned. Maybe not, and the title fight goes on to Jeddah after that. But until then, I'm Soren, on my side was Matt, and yeah, we hope to see you next time again. Bye bye.